There are so many poop jokes to be made here, but thankfully I am a mature individual. Now let's move on from number 1 to number 2. Mage Popp's Trustmaster reward is an accessory of high magic, and boosts fire and earth resistance by 30%. Furthermore, it carries several additional passives. There's MP regen, bonus equipment magic when carrying a single weapon, and when equipped to Popp, boosts its magic by additional 250. His Super Trustmaster reward is a two-handed rod of high magic. It also boasts a Demon and Spirit Killer Plus, and when equipped to Popp, gives him 250 magic. Apparently, this rod can also be a two-handed spear, which would have been cool if they actually implemented that. On to his active abilities. Kafriz deals fire damage, though it can apparently be awakened. Boom is boom. Dunk deals earth magic damage that chains a bolting strike and maybe inflicts stop. 5 finger flares can be used 3 times per battle, dealing 3 strong fire magic attacks. Crack deals ice magic damage that chains of Chaos Wave awakened. Medroa lowers the enemy's fire and ice resistance by 130%, then deals incredible fire and ice damage that partially ignores the enemy's spirit. Passives. When equipped with his Trustmaster reward or Super Trustmaster reward, Popp gains a lot of equipment magic when carrying a single weapon. He also boasts 4 strong killers, and a small boost to his limit burst gauge fill rate. At EX plus 1, he gets Warring Spirit. At EX plus 2, he gets chain damage boost and half the cap to the chain limit boost. At EX plus 3, he gets 500 magic. He also has a decent spread of elemental resistance, though it's quantity over quality here. Let's look at his limit burst. It fully restores his MP, boosts his magic by 300%, and strengthens the damage modifier of his magic abilities except for Boom and Crack. As a super limit burst user, Popp has access to Magic Shift, which boosts his magic by 250%, his limit burst damage by 200%, and fills his limit burst gauge when the super limit burst is ready to go. The first 2 buffs are then thrown out the window, given his super limit burst fully restores his MP, boosts his magic by 400%, further boosts the damage modifiers of the same abilities except for Kafriz, enables 3 abilities, Of Course I Can, which gives him a strong magic killer against demons and reapers, then boosts the damage modifier of Medroa, I Can Do It Now, which boosts his fire damage by 45% and further boosts the damage modifier of Medroa, and Here Goes Nothing, which stacks the same buffs but ice, and then applies an additional 300% stored magic buff. Lastly, he also gets a quadruple cast, though in this case it only really lets him monologue and attack. Let's rank Brave abilities. 5 Finger Flares is much stronger than Dunk, but Dunk is his best chaining move. Time to make a damage rotation. On turns 1 and 2, use whatever is best. 5 Finger Flares is the strongest but needs someone else to chain. Dunk deals earth damage, but Popp's best move isn't earth. Kafriz is a safe bet but has the same problem as his grandest ability, while Crack is just pretty weak. Of course, you may want to save 5 Finger Flares so that they'll get buffed from his limit burst. Speaking of which, you can also use that if you're confident you'll get his limit burst up by turn 4. Regardless, on turn 3, use Medroa. On turn 4, use his limit burst. On turn 5, use his super limit burst. On turn 6, cast Of Course I Can, I Can Do It Now, Here Goes Nothing, and Medroa. Repeat the rotation from there, incorporating his new buffs and abilities when applicable. So, EX2. As a super limit burst user, Popp automatically benefits from additional EX awakenings. It really helps his damage rotation, given he heavily relies on the buffs from his limit bursts. Furthermore, EX plus 2 not only gives him his Super Trustmaster reward, but also gives him boosted chaining, which he desperately needs. EX plus 3 is expensive, some might even call it golden poop. So how good is Mage Poop? Popp is incredibly powerful, given the potential damage modifier boost in Medroa. This will only get stronger in the future once magic variance changes take place. However, Medroa also happens to deal both fire and ice damage at the same time. Now I'm sure this is cool in Dragon Quest, Poop's Adventure, but in Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, it's not especially helpful if your enemy happens to resist one of the 2 elements. Given how fire and ice are generally opposite elements in this game in the first place, it's a bit rare to find an enemy that happens to be weak to both. If that happens to be the case though, you can certainly strike fear of Popp's name alone, given his good baseline, strong passes, and underlying jokes, that he's still a potentially expensive investment that might result at your expense. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, leave a like and subscribe. Comment below if you summon Mage Popp. Given the way the banner works this time around, there's really no way of being selective, unless you happen to hit the safety net. At the very least, his Trustmaster reward is pretty good, though his Super Trustmaster rewards faces pretty stiff competition. Such a shame this game doesn't play nice with multiple elements.